Hi, this is Leanne from Handspun Treasures, and now I am going to demonstrate Continental knit and purl stitches. Now, I have a couple of rows on here already, and I choose to knit Continental style because I'm also a crocheter. And with crochet, you hold your working yarn in your left hand and your right hand uses the hook. So the when I can very easily switch from crocheting to knitting because the motions would be very similar with the yarn holding and even some with the position of, where the needles are and everything else. Now, unlike crochet, which is where you're sticking the hook into the side of the stitch like this, and then you're yarning over and pulling up a loop and yarn over, and there you have completed stitches. You don't have to worry about anything. These are completely worked and not live. So you could just set that down, no hook, and just walk away. Now, if you have adventurous children like mine, they come along and unravel everything, but I suppose that's just a hazard of having children. Okay, now, with knitting, again, I understand everybody gets their yarn held different, and I personally have the yarn over the middle of my index finger, and then it's kind of pinched between my index and middle finger. I don't understand and have never the whole wrapping it around your pinky, but whatever works for you is right. There is no right or wrong way to hold your yarn, but this is how it works for me. Now, for the knit stitch, what you do is you insert the tip of your needle into the hook from the left side, and you're basically going to make them cross each other. Oops, let's see. I gotta get it actually in between the two stitches because there's a front leg and a back leg to knit stitches. And you want to go in between those two stitches and have your needles cross each other. And then for this first stitch, I use my middle finger to help wrap the yarn onto the needle because, well, there is no hook to grab it and pull a loop through. So you pull that yarn forward and you've created a loop on your right needle. So that means you have to pull the old loop off the left needle and let it drop. Then you'll insert the tip of your needle from left to right. Now I stretch out my stitches pretty far so that I can easily grab the yarn to pull it forward. And then we have our next loop, so we will pull that old stitch off and let it drop. And then you insert left to right, grab that yarn, pull it forward, and slide that old loop off the end. So now we have 3 stitches on our right needle and 6 on our left. So we will continue to insert the tip of our needle into the stitch and pull up a new loop and slide off the old one. pull that forward, pull up a loop, slide off the old one, and more full speed. And here we have some pretty knitting, and doesn't look like a whole lot right now, but it will. So with this circular needle, in order to work on the flat, you just turn your work over. It's just simple as that. There's the knit side, or the right side, and this is the purl side or the wrong side. Now, I will show you the purl stitch. Now, with knit stitch, your yarn is on the back side of your needle, and then you insert your needle from left to right, and then you grab the yarn and pull up a stitch. Now, you could do that again and it would look like purl stitches on both sides. That's not what we want to do right now. So what we'll do for the purl stitch is you want the yarn at the front of your work. Let's see if I can show you through my fingers. Now, to create a purl stitch, instead of going from left to right, you will insert your needle from right to left into that stitch. And there again, you've got your cross. But this time, you wrap the yarn over the top of your needle, and you pull up a loop that way, and you pull off the old one. Now let's do that again. Your needle goes from right to left into the stitch, so it'll be sitting on top of that bump right here. So you go right above that, and then you'll bring your yarn over the top, and there's your new loop on your needle. So you slide the old one off, and there you go. You got two loops. And again, with the yarn in the front, you'll insert your needle from right to left, yarn over the top, go in behind, so your needles will cross behind, and then you pull up a loop. And again, with the yarn in front, you slide your needle from right to left, yarn over, cross your needles, and there's that new loop on the back. And yarn over, cross those needles in the back, and you can pull off your new loop. Yarn over, and now we're back to the end, and we have these lovely purl bumps on the back of our work. So to go back to doing knit stitch, you just turn your work over and keep that yarn in the back, and you just start over. Insert your needle, insert your needle, hook that yarn over on that first stitch, pull up a new loop, slide off the old one. And like I said, I stretch out my stitches pretty wide to the side so that I can just easily grab the yarn and go on to the next stitch. Pull that needle or that loop wide, grab the yarn, make your new loop. And then, now that we're at the end, flip it over again. Pull that yarn back to the front. And you got to use your fingers to keep it, this, the old stitch is going to want to try to wrap itself up around the top of the needle. So you got to use your fingers and your needle a little bit to kind of push this back so that you can insert your needle into that stitch nicely. And yarn over the top, cross those needles in the back, and pull up off the loop. And then you go in, over the top, through, so you have that new loop on that back needle, and you slide it off. Over. When teaching the purl stitch, to me it seems difficult because it's like your fingers keep getting in the way. So I'm sorry if you're not able to see what I'm doing real clear, because at least this part, when you're pulling that yarn over, you need to have tension on it so that you can slide your needle through to create the loop, which just, it just means that fingers are in the way, and it's just the unfortunate reality of making a purl stitch, at least Continental style. So then we'll finish this off. And there we have it. A nice little piece of knitting. Thanks for joining me.